Good morning, or depending when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and I was always told how to voice radio, so today I'm going to be showing you my journey through the Chroma League tournament. I have gone through the Chroma League, I have gotten to position number 6, and I've been using Chandelure. Chandelure has taken over from Garchomp and Machamp as my Pokemon of choice. So we're going to have a go through with Chandelure first, and if we can do it with Chandelure, then we're going to have a go with Garchomp. I haven't forgotten about Garchomp, I still love Garchomp. I would still describe Garchomp as my boy. But there comes a time when we have to do what's right for us. So we are here in the 4th league. We've gone through the red and blue and green, and I don't really care, to be honest. We're in Chroma League. This is the more difficult one. So we start off, and as I've said before, Chandelure is all about the projectiles. Now I hit with a Will-O-Wisp there, which puts his attack down, which you can see by the blue fist next to Weavile's name. And that is a very powerful long-ranged attack, which is much better in dual phase than it is in field phase. But if you can hit them in field phase, then you run into dual phase, and we get a perfect. And this is, as far as I'm concerned, the real power of Chandelure here. You can sit back and hit your opponent with projectiles all day long and try and get something going. Now, Weavile gets his burst quicker than I do, and he's avoiding most of my attacks, but I do finally hit with a Will-O-Wisp, and he breaks through my defenses. He hits me, but he doesn't get too much of a hit. I call him Reshiram. He is my support Pokemon. And is that going to hit, or is he going to get the invulnerability from bursting? No, I do hit him with Reshiram. And now I get to have my own burst. And I'm going to try and get nice and close and hit him with my Synergy Burst attack. I found out that with Chandelure's burst attack, if you're close enough, you hit. But if you can be really close, you can get a few hits before you actually go ahead and get into the main part of the attack. Does a bit of extra damage, it's a bit more inconvenient. And just like that, we take down the first game, Weavile goes down, and Chandelure goes through. Remember, and I do encourage you to watch all of my Pokkén tournament videos, follow the journey through. But remember, we are in a tournament here. This means that you cannot change your support Pokemon between matches, and it means that one loss and you are out. You need to knock out 3 wins on the bounce, a single loss, and you're out. So we go into the semi-finals, and we are going to be against Pikachu Libre. Now, I don't like going against Pikachu. He's fast, he can get in, he can get around your projectiles, he's got some good projectiles of his own. And, of course, when he gets in nice and close, he can reel off some of those combos that really do a lot of damage very quickly. And as we've seen in my previous video with Chandelure. And that's how quickly Chandelure's become one of my favourites. He does not like it when they get in close and hit you. So we start with projectiles, we're in field phase, we don't have the dig attack, so what else can you do? Now I do grab him with a Hex there, that's an alternative to a long range attack. You can hit, now you've got to be at the right distance, we miss with an Incinerate there because he blocks it, but we hit with that one. We get a Smog and he gets around it, but we hit him with a ranged attack. And we are rolling here with the ranged attacks. We throw out a Will-O-Wisp to try and get his attack down. We hit the second time around. We try and Incinerate that misses, and another one which hits. And we are very, very close here. We hit with a ranged attack. And at this stage, I like to get nice and close and hit them with an Overheat, which generally ends the game. It is fun, ladies and gentlemen. So that Hex is a grab attack. Now, you've got to be the right distance away. But if they're blocking all your projectile attacks, you can grab them with a Hex, and that does some good stuff. So we see Pikachu here, he's trying his own projectile attacks. Now I've got that, I love that attack from Chandelure when they get in close, but on harder difficulties the computer does know what you're doing, does tend to block it. But it's the second fight, we've got Reshiram, we call in Reshiram, and I love Reshiram's attack, he is good. So we hit with another Hex there, which is very nice indeed. Now Hex will remove their status conditions, so I put his attack down using Reshiram, and then I took off with using Hex. But I like Hex, it's a good grab attack, it does a decent amount of damage, I am okay with that. And then we get close enough to hit with my Synergy Burst attack, and I think that's going to be enough, ladies and gentlemen. If it's not, it's going to at least be very, very close. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Pikachu Libre goes down. And you'll notice in 2 matches here, I've lost very, very little health. Now, one way of looking at this is, well, hang on a second, you've just sat there and thrown projectiles around. And another way of looking at it is, Chandeler's a pretty good character with whom I've become comfortable very quickly. And I'm not saying I'm some kind of amazing Chandelure player. I'm sure a whole bunch of other people could as well. I've heard a bunch of people who like to favour Chandelure. So we get into the final, and is that Blaziken we're up against? I should remember, I didn't do this fight very long ago. So apparently battles are good, but then, you know, you retreat, and I don't really care, mate, if I'm perfectly honest. I don't really care. So Chandelure's going to go up against Blaziken, and fingers crossed we can get going on this. Now, the thing about Blaziken is he's got some good combos. We don't want to let him get in close, so we are going to play hit and run. Speaking to a friend of mine who plays a lot of Street Fighter, he likened Chandelure to Dao Sim with very much, he hasn't got much defense, so it's very much a hit and run kind of strategy that you're going to be going for. So I hit him with a ranged attack, which is very, very nice, and you see that I'm getting a couple little, what we call counter attacks, which is all good, and I hit him with my overheat, and this is why we use Cresselia. She charges nice and quickly, we do the overheat attack, we get 2 negative statuses from that, but then we throw out Cresselia and she heals those negative statuses right away. So in comes Frogadier, but we manage to avoid him for the time being, and because we've used Cresselia, we get another overheat and we win the round. Now that overheat attack is very, very good when you don't have negative statuses, even better when you have positive, but it's really, really underwhelming if you're afflicted with negative statuses. So when you've got negative statuses, you call in Cresselia and she essentially recharges it. So we hit with a Hex there, that nice little grab attack does a bunch of damage, and as he runs in close, we time our Reshiram very, very nicely and do a whole bunch of damage. And as soon as we've called in the Reshiram, we then do our Synergy Burst. Have I used this too early? No, I have not. I catch him in midair, and between the Reshiram and our Synergy Burst attack, this does not look like it's going to be a particularly long round. We've already got him down to 100 health nice and quickly, and he's got those negative status conditions as well. So we're going to throw out some projectiles here. He's getting way too close for our liking. Now I'm actually going to try and do the spinning side attack here. I actually do that incorrectly, throw out that long projectile, but it actually works in my favour, and we take him down. And that, ladies and gentlemen, makes us the Chroma League champion. I've tried a bunch of different characters on this game. I've made videos for all the ones I've tried so far. None of them are as good as I have found Chandelure to be. I love me some fancy play, as you can see from my tagline. I also love me some Chandelure. So let's see what unlockables I am going to get. Yeah, there is no shame in defeat for me, because I'm not defeated. You, sir, you should feel a little bit of shame, because you done lost. So, what are we going to get? Well, first we're going to get this fancy screen that shows us to be a winner. And you can tell I'm the winner because I come in with an ever so slight delay. And that means I'm better than them. I get some Poké Gold and you need some of them. Now, I like the look of this Evil Tao. Slow charging, destructive attack, comes down from the sky. I will be trying him. The problem is, Latios, average charge. I do like my Cresselia. So, Whimsical Cheer skill. A random skill between every round that could be good or bad might be worth a go, and I like this Halloween costume. I'm still going to be playing Pokkén Tournament in November, and I like the idea that I can dress Naya up as a Halloweeny lady. That sounds like fun to me. So I've taken down the Chroma League of Chandelure. I feel a little bit cheaty. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flick back into the Chroma League, but this time I'm going to try it with Garchomp. Garchomp has been my boy, ladies and gentlemen, throughout the early time with this particular game. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back with Garchomp, and I'm actually going to see, you know what, is he worth playing as? Can I win with Garchomp? Now, I won with Chandelure, but I really like Chandelure, and he showed to be a character that I tried on a whimsy and really got in touch with. Garchomp has been my boy since the beginning of this game, and I've not been as good with Garchomp, but I feel like we should give him a go. He's taken down the tournament in every other league. He did the first 3 tournaments, so even though Chandelure did this tournament first time round, let's give Garchomp a go. Now, I throw some projectiles out, and the weird thing is, because I've been playing a Chandelure a while, and I get my dig blocked, this happens more and more. So I go with a counter-attack, but I get a little bit of a poker combo going on there quite nicely. I try a heavy attack, but it gets blocked, and he grabs. One of the things I find with more traditional fighters on hard difficulty, your opponent, the computer character who's at a high level, blocks everything. You grab, they attack. You attack, they counter. You counter, they grab. It is annoying, ladies and gentlemen. But I grab him with a Snivy, and I am quite powered up at this stage, so I get some blocks going, and I hit with a counter-attack. I finally hit with a dig, because at this stage, ladies and gentlemen, when it gets more difficult, you've got to get your timing right. Random digs are not going to work against higher level opponents. They're going to see them coming, they're going to block, and when they block your dig, you're vulnerable for a moment, especially to some kind of throw attack. So you've got to time your digs, and again, I do it rightly there. You've got to hit the dig so that they're not getting them. So straight away, I throw my Lapras out, and he jumps over it somehow, and he gets a bit of a combo going, and I just throw up a block. I do get a counter-attack in because he's throwing out a whole bunch of normal attacks, and I do hit with my dig, and I follow it up with an Earthquake. I haven't been jumping much. He doesn't expect me to jump. That leaves it open for an Earthquake. Now, he's still getting his ranged attacks, but I managed to hit with another dig, and I need to get my Synergy Burst going here. And I believe I'm going to get it going, but I miss when I throw it out, which is very upsetting. I need to time it a little bit better. So now, I find this a lot when I play this game. I get them down to 1 health, and then I end up playing differently and trying to throw out normal attacks, and this happens. And I finally get a nice light attack, and I get the win, but it should not have taken that long to take down the final hit point from that Blaziken. Seems a little bit strange, ladies and gentlemen. I feel like I shouldn't be making those kind of mistakes. But it doesn't matter. I've taken him down. We good, ladies and gentlemen. We good. Now, I've got my Garchomp, and I'm a little bit excited because I'm getting close to level 50 at this stage. So let's get on to the semi-finals, and I'm against a Gardevoir. Now, I haven't played as Gardevoir yet, but I've played quite a lot of this game, 75 battles just with Garchomp. And one of the things about Gardevoir, she's good anti-air and she's good projectile. So I'm not going to be wanting too many Earthquakes, and she's going to try what I tried with Chandelure. So again, I try and get some projectiles and follow up straight away. It doesn't work, and she gets me with a grab attack. And then she does a little bit of juggling. She gets some combos going, and this is a little bit sad. I try a dig, and somehow I hit, even though that was a poorly designed dig. I try with a heavy attack, but she gets me with a counter. And then she throws out a little projectile. I block it, but she comes and follows it up. So I leave my block up for a little bit longer. I get a strong attack. I follow up with a little bit of a combo, and while she's hanging in midair, unable to protect herself, then I throw up a Snivy as my support Pokemon. Get her with a grab as soon as she wakes up, hit her with a dig, and that is it. Now, I think there's less room for error when you play as Garchomp against higher level opponents. You've got to get your timing correct. Chandelure, you can sit and throw out projectiles and just stop them getting close. Garchomp, you've really got to figure out, when am I using a counter attack? When am I using my grab? When is it safe to dig? Now I'm going to try and avoid this, but I can't avoid it. She gets her burst attack, and that is it. Now, another thing about Garchomp, and now to be fair, I have not put many skill points into Synergy. Or burst, I should say. But I am not... He really takes a while. I don't really get my Synergy burst in round 1. I have to wait till round 2, and even then sometimes a little way through. Now, I do catch her with a critical hit. I grab her with a nice charged Sand Tomb, and then I get to follow up while she's in midair with a heavy attack. She gets me with a grab, and this is looking dire, ladies and gentlemen. Timed perfectly. Gets me with the jumping projectile right as I stand up. And that is all she wrote. You get a little bit of immunity when you're on the ground. But, it was, she got me perfectly as I stood up. So I lost a round with Garchomp, which I didn't do with Chandelure. But I'm still feeling a little bit like I can get something going here. And now I get my Synergy Burst. Can I hit with this? No! Because there's just that second of immunity she got when she used the when she used the Synergy Burst, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. But we're not out of it yet. We're behind. We've wasted our Synergy Burst attack, but we managed to get a dig. We managed to get a strong attack, follow it up with a bit of a combo, and rather than going for a grab like I usually would there, I try a counter attack, and I try a grab, but it's countered with just a regular attack. But Snivy has recharged, so we throw him out. Doesn't get too much going, unfortunately. I get got with a grab, but she's down to 67 health, and Garchomp does quite a bit. So hopefully I'm going to be able to hit with one little thing here. I don't hit with the dig. It was an ill-timed dig. It gets blocked, but I managed to hit with an Earthquake for the win. Sometimes when you're throwing out those digs over and over again and they do get countered, it's a little bit sad, but then they leave themselves open for an Earthquake because they're not expecting a jump. An Earthquake is a pretty nice attack. So, we're rounding it out now. We've made it to the finals with Garchomp. We have not done anywhere near as well as we did with Chandelure. We haven't got any perfects like we did with Chandelure. We've lost a round like we didn't do with Chandelure. But we've made it to the final against Sceptile, or Skeptile, you pronounce it however you like. I shall not judge you. And here, it is all about just trying to do enough to get the win. I don't, as much as it pains me, I think especially offline, against a computer who, with the attack triangle, you know, with grab, beating, counter, and attack, regular, beating, grab, etc., it is getting more and more difficult to actually go ahead and, you know, beat these characters with someone like Garchomp. Chandelure seems a better option, but when you see me online, ladies and gentlemen, you will see me playing some Garchomp. And yes, I'm going to dig too much, and yes, it's going to lose me games, and I'm okay with that. I'm also probably going to try and grab a little bit too often. But you know what? I'm cool with that. So I hit with a grab, I hit with an Earthquake, I try a dig, but I'm a little bit too early, and I hit while he's on the ground and still has that little bit of immunity. In comes a Sylveon, gives a boost to Skeptile, and he's now making it very, very close. An ill-timed dig leads to a grab, as I've said. If you time it correctly, you can get a good grab off the dig. And then I try my heavy attack, and it doesn't work, but I follow up with a counter. Right as he does a regular attack, I have another counter. I call in Snivy, and while he's... I don't know if he actually got caught by the Snivy there or not, but regardless, I hit with a heavy attack there, and I take him down, and we go to the second round here. And if I can just win this round, I have gone through the Chroma League, the hard league, with Garchomp. So I throw out Lapras straight away, give him the maximum amount of time to recharge as this fight goes on, but I get hit with a grab by Skeptile. I try a heavy attack, but it doesn't work, and he gets his Synergy Burst. But I do get a heavy attack there. Then I get into my Synergy Burst from it, and this time I am so close that I am not missing with my Synergy Burst attack. First time in 3 rounds that I've actually managed to get it going, but oh, it's going to be worth it, because look how much damage it does. And now I am feeling very, very good about my chances. I hit him with an Earthquake, and that is it, ladies and gentlemen. Even though Chandelure is jumped ahead of Garchomp in my personal preference pecking order, oh my goodness, I still love me some Garchomp. And even though I did the majority of Chroma League with Chandelure, because I'm going to be honest, it was easier, when we got to the Chroma League and I took it down with Chandelure, I had to have a go with Garchomp. And as if some kind of lovely poetry, not only do I take down the Chroma League with Garchomp, but I get up to level 50, and that makes me happy. No unlockables, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, but that's how we do it. So, well done Garchomp, well done Chandelure. Chroma League, I've done it. In my next video, you are going to see me try and become the champion of the Ferrum League, and ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be wonderful. I'm also going to be trying out a new character very soon. If you've got a character you would like me to try, chuck it down in the comments. But you know the deal. If you haven't clicked that like button, why not? I'll give you a second. If you haven't clicked it by now, as always, I assume you hate me on a personal level. Make sure you click subscribe if you haven't, and if you have subscribed, go and get a friend to subscribe on your behalf. It will make me happy. And the most important thing, look after yourselves till next time. We'll be back in a couple days with more Pokkén tournament videos. Look after yourselves until then. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.